Good afternoon, America. It's Wednesday, August 20th, and I'm Erickson. Here are the 4 things you need to know this afternoon. Up first, the Associated Press reports a federal judge has yet again denied a Department of Justice request to release grand jury transcripts and exhibits related to Jeffrey Epstein. Frankly, this should surprise no one. Grand jury testimony is among the most sensitive legal material in existence. The process is designed to allow witnesses to speak freely without fear of retaliation and to prevent the reputations of the innocent from being destroyed. A mere mention of someone's name in grand jury context can ruin a life, even if they did absolutely nothing wrong. That's why prosecutors are expected to safeguard these records zealously. That's why a judge says no way to a request to release the information. Americans increasingly are going to have to come to terms with the fact they're never going to get the itch scratched on knowing the full extent of what happened with Jeffrey Epstein. The Washington Post reports that J.D. Vance and Pete Hegseth, key Trump allies in the administration, have once again managed to bait the left into overreacting. All they did was show up at Union Station with the National Guard. They've been vocal about law and order, hammering the dysfunction in the nation's capital, and predictably, Democrats and left-wing activists responded by showing up, protesting and attacking them, turning the entire issue into a story about personalities rather than crime in Washington, D.C. What did it accomplish? Well, it reinforced the very narrative Vance and Hegseth wanted, that Democrats are more comfortable defending criminals than defending citizens. In truth, they played the left like a fiddle on this. The headlines are now screaming, Republicans are hard on crime, and Democrats appear more worried about defending the indefensible. This matters because Americans increasingly believe the Democratic Party is out of touch with their day-to-day concerns. People are tired of feeling unsafe in cities, tired of watching lawlessness brushed aside in the name of ideology. Vance and Hegseth made sure the public saw that contrast at Union Station, a remarkable building that used to have robust shops and now is virtually abandoned because of crime and lawlessness. The left's hatred of these men has been so visceral, it blinded them to the fact they were amplifying the Republican message for free. In politics, that's not just effective messaging, that's mastery of the process that Vance and Hegseth pulled out. New research from Pew confirms what most Americans already know. The press has a credibility crisis. People want fair-minded, straightforward journalism. They want facts reported accurately, without spin, without hidden agendas. And yet the perception and the lived experience of Americans is that journalism today is too often partisan, biased, and agenda-driven. This new research shows Americans know the difference between reporting and activism, and they're frustrated that too many journalists blur the line. Instead of information, they get narrative. Instead of facts, they get framing designed to advance progressive politics. The irony is that demand for good journalism, according to Pew, has never been higher. Americans actually crave reporting they can trust, especially in a world of disinformation and propaganda. But when trusted outlets choose to act like partisan actors, they burn the very credibility that distinguishes them from rumor mills online. Now, the takeaway is this from Pew. People don't actually hate journalism. They hate being lied to. They hate being manipulated. If the media ever wants to restore trust, it has to start with something simple: honesty. Report the facts. Let the chips fall where they may. Stop treating the American people like rubes who can't think for themselves. But we all know that's not going to happen. The media would rather go out of business than actually report stuff unfavorable to progressives. Lastly, Axios reports the Army is dramatically ramping up artillery production in the United States with a new facility in Iowa that, when completed, could generate 36,000 shells a month, including 155-millimeter rounds in strong demand in Ukraine. This is a big deal. These shells are the workhorse of the modern warfare, used extensively in Ukraine, critical to our own stockpiles. For years, the U.S. allowed its munitions capacity to atrophy, assuming we never face prolonged high-intensity conflict again, and the assumption was always going to be wrong. The Trump administration is now racing to correct course. Expanding domestic production means more jobs in Iowa, more security for America, and a clear signal to adversaries we're not asleep at the wheel. It's also a reminder that peace through strength isn't just rhetoric, it's practical. If you want to deter adversaries like Russia or China, you better be able to sustain the kind of fight they're prepared for. That requires industrial capacity, the capacity and ability to produce, replenish, and project force over the long haul. For too long, Washington treated defense production like a peacetime luxury. Today's announcement shows America's waking up. That is very good news for all of us. So there you have it. The Justice Department denied access to grand jury material in the Epstein matter. Trump's allies bait Democrats into defending crime. Pew confirms Americans don't trust the media because they know it's biased. And the Army is rebuilding our arsenal right where it should be, in the heartland of America, in Iowa. These are the 4 things you need to know this afternoon. I'm Eric Erickson. Please stay informed. Please stay engaged. Above all else, please keep the faith and have a great afternoon.